So, hi everyone, Frank Devine. I'm one of the True Global Ventures partners. I'm glad to moderate this third TGV podcast, where we are going to talk about demystifying virtual assets for 2024. GCeX has obtained an operational VASP license from the Virtual Asset Regulatory Authority, VARA, in Dubai for its VA broker-dealer services. They are the first firm actually to receive approval from VARA to operate with the client's money account, and one of the first to receive a VASP operating license to provide virtual asset broker-dealer services. So let's dig into that. To keep the TGV spirit, we will take questions from the chat. So for the audience, that's one of your benefits of being invited to that session. Do not hesitate to ask your questions in the chat. I'll pick up some at the end of the session. And to keep the dynamic, I will try to ask short questions, and the speakers will try to give us sharp answers. So maybe we start with you, Meta. Can you introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you so much, Frank, and great to be here today. So I am responsible for the growth of GCeX in the Middle East. So basically, I'm responsible for the strategy here as well as the operation on the ground. My background is very much law. So I completed a law degree in Denmark and started my career in traditional finance, actually in one of Lars's previous companies. So I've been working with him for many, many years. And I moved to Dubai 5.5 years ago and worked as a consultant here and helped brokers and banks to get the license with different authorities such as DFSA, ADGM, and ESCA. So
Excellent. Lars, can you introduce yourself?
Thanks for having us, Frank, today. I'm Lars. I'm the group CEO of GCeX and the founder. Based anywhere between London and Copenhagen and Dubai. So I would also like to add, we do have licenses elsewhere than Dubai, but I'm sure we get back to that later. My background is traditional finance, starting online trading back in '99. I guess before the term fintech was invented. And been building trading technology and clearing solutions ever since.
Okay, excellent. So maybe we start with you, Lars. Can you explain what GCeX is doing? There's many players in that field, from brokers to exchange to market makers, etc. What does GCeX bring to the market?
Digital prime brokerage. Prime brokerage, in a nutshell, is really accessing multiple liquidity sources or any liquidity source, whether that's market makers or crypto exchanges, via one prime brokerage account with GCeX. So you eliminate the need to have collateral in multiple places, settlement in all over the place. So one central counterparty. We don't run risk. We don't do lending. We don't do borrowing. All we do is facilitate trading. We do that by our regulated entities, plus we have built trading technology around it to automate the whole workflow.
Okay, excellent. You have some congratulations in the chat already for the license. Look, Meta, who are your clients? What type of clients do you have, and what is their needs exactly that you answer with those offers?
So GCex's business model is very much, so we only serve institutional clients, and this is across the whole group, right? So here in whether you are in Dubai or you are in Denmark, we only deal with institutional professional clients, meaning we don't accept retail clients at all. The type of clients we have is everything from brokers to exchanges, family offices, hedge funds, that are looking for solid, technology, proper execution, and price feeds, So our clients are very much, as I said before, brokers and exchanges. I would say that's probably the majority of our clients.
Okay, very clear. Lars, which region do you cover?
Because of the nature of professional clients, we have global coverage because most regulators, they focus on limiting the scope of the permissions for retail and to protect local retail investors. As long as you only deal with professional clients, then you actually can have a global outreach, even US clients, as long as they're accredited or investors or ECPs. We regulated in the UK as a full scope investment firm. We regulate in Denmark, part of the EU with European passporting as a full scope investment firm. We have a currency exchange license, and we have a VASP license in Denmark. And we are ready for MiCA. I like to say that because there's a European directive for crypto assets coming into play in 2024, where we will start to promote here already in January. We're ready for MiCA. And plus, we just finished a puzzle here in Dubai with the license with VARA, also as a VASP, a crypto broker.
Okay, so that's a good transition to my next question to Mehtap. What is the impact of receiving this VARA license for GCeX in details?
Yeah, I think if we look at GCeX in general, but also not only GCeX, just VASP in general, I think the impact of getting a license is really depends on your growth plans, right? So if you have growth plan where you want to target institutional clients and build your business around that, then I think you should definitely have licenses across different jurisdictions. And by receiving our license from VARA, and as you said before, yes, we are one of the first to receive that license, as well as actually the first one to get a client money account. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because it actually has a huge impact on our business on the ground. Clients that, with the license we have, we're opening the doors for clients, for the bigger players, I would say, in the region, right? So the big players, they want to partner up with reliable licensed entities with a proper solid technology as well as liquidity, right? So the license actually allow us to target or to partner up with these players on the ground, and not only in the UAE but in GCC and the Middle East in general. So I think with the VARA license, just to come back to the question, is that it actually allowed us to create some very, very good strategic partnerships, and to allow us to serve some of the big players in this part of the world.
Okay, so I keep you to answer the next question. Do you foresee this driving incremental business in the UAE and GCC region?
Yeah, I mean, and I think there is a couple of things that I mean, the UAE in general, right? So I think I must say, I think UAE were quite quick to understand that there is actually a new opportunity of a new economy in this industry with crypto in general. And so I think what they did, the UAE, was like, okay, we have this opportunity, let's lead it. And what they did, they set up VARA, and VARA is actually a very new regulator, which came up, I think, almost 1.5 years ago, 18 months ago, something like that. So they created VARA, and with VARA, they wanted to kind of lead this industry because they believe that there is future in it, obviously, but it also gives them the opportunity to become a financial hub, which is one of the biggest agendas here in the UAE. They want to be the next, a financial hub, like similar to the UK used to be in the days. You can argue if they still are, if not, but anyways, UAE definitely has one of those goals. Also because most of the the economy is very much tourist related, so they rely on the tourist sector, whereas they want to kind of shift that over to the more, you know, financial sector and kind of grow that part of UAE in general. So, you know, with the new regulator and with the regulation coming up, which is evolving from day to day, by the way, you know, Lars and I actually just today had a very, very good meeting with the regulator, VARA, discussing, you know, new products that we can add. So yeah, it will definitely have a huge impact on GCeX in general on the ground, but also for the UAE and for the industry in general. I mean, it's not a secret. Dubai wants to be the global leader in this, and I'm sure, you know, this is also why one of, well, not one of, but some of the big player in the industry are setting up here. You know, it is because they believe there is opportunities here, which we are part of. So yeah.
Excellent, and congratulations again. I think if you see some messages in the chat, take it as a compliment. So, question for Lars. What kind of changes are you seeing in volumes of digital asset transactions, given the increased interest into Bitcoin ETFs? So let's start to talk about this, Lars.
I guess what's the driver? Is it the price movement, the recent price movement, and the volatility that has driven volume, or is it the ETFs? I guess that's we don't know, but we have definitely seen a massive uplift in recent months in volume on the back of various news. Is it because people are preparing for ETFs? Is it because we're ready for the halving? We don't know, of course, but we have seen more players coming to market. We have seen a good inflow of new clients. So yes, we of course embrace more certainty, we embrace more clarity, and we as a company, we have seen a significant uplift in volume, actually plus 200% month on month from October to November. So good track, but hey, I would like to see another 200%, as I'm sure a lot of other people. We're not back to where we were, but I think we're on the right trajectory.
Okay, and beside BTC and ETH, what other crypto do you think would be interesting to your institutional clients? Maybe Meta, you can answer to that one.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing, well, especially in the UAE, what I'm hearing definitely, and it's around security tokens. So we see a lot more players that want to create, you know, new tokens, which I would say, you know, I'm going to be honest. In the beginning, you know, with new tokens, I was a bit, you know, a bit suspicious, and I was like, really, you know, what is all this about? And I think, you know, if we look back in time around 2016, 17, where everyone was trying to create a token, you know, and not understanding what the purpose was around these tokens, but just creating something for the sake of creating, that's kind of like how I looked at it back then. I see like the market has changed now, where we are seeing actually, you know, players that are creating tokens to actually solve a problem out there, you know. And this, of course, also helps with the fact that the market is now much more mature and there is regulation around these tokens. Well, somewhere in some jurisdictions there is a regulation. So I think, you know, we actually have a project going on with another player in the industry that is also creating a token around diamonds. So with the diamonds being the underlying assets, which is very, very interesting to be a part of. And you can actually see, you know, why they're creating this and what the whole purpose is. So I think we're going to see much more interest in security tokens in 2024, for sure. That is one of the things, but also stable coins as well. It's also a very interesting thing that we will hear much more about in 2024.
Yeah, maybe just an additional question here about the dirham and potential stablecoin coming in the region. Can you say a few words about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, so as I said before, you know, the UAE wants to be a global leader in terms of crypto, just in general, the crypto industry in general. And that, of course, includes the fact of a stablecoin, including, of dirhams. Right now, as we speak, there is discussions around it and how to create it and how they should actually, who should be allowed. So there will be a test phase as well about this. But as we speak, they're actually right now drafting the regulations around it, and it's together with the regulators as well as central bank, obviously. But we will be, hearing more about stable coins from the UAE it's expected in Q2, or will there be much more updates around it?
Okay, we keep you Metap. What are the strengths of being surviving and growing in those years, notably 2022 and 2023 market conditions? So what the secret sauce?
Yeah, I mean, 2022, I think it was a shock for everyone, right, with FTX. But at the same time, I think the way we looked at it was that it was kind of healthy for the industry. I think there was a lot of players that were just going around there kind of clueless. And we had to kind of somehow eliminate those and sorry to say it, but get rid of those that were just walking around. So I think coming to 2023, which was the bear market, obviously, right? And the way we tackled that year, I said, we kind of looked at it as a build phase. So what we did is that we start focusing on much more on our products and building new technologies and products for our institutional clients. Had good conversations with the clients to, what is actually your needs and how can we build that for you to make sure that we serve you better. So we spent our 2023 to build, as I said, new products and saw it as a build phase for 2024. But what we also did in 2023 was we actually created some very good strategic partnerships that we hope to make use of in 2024. So for us, I mean, 2023 was, as Lars said, was good, but not as good as we wanted it to be. But we are definitely ready for 2024.
Excellent transitions to my next question to Lars. So Lars, what are the 2024 trends for virtual assets?
Well, if I knew, I'm not sure I would say it on this call, but I guess we're all hoping for the bull run to continue. People, I think we put in our newsletter a few weeks ago. Are you ready for the bull run? But the bull run, of course, is already here technically, and it's not something we should wait for. Of course, nothing happens in a linear way without any setbacks, and that would also be a bit unnatural. But we expect the positivity to continue, and as Metap said, we have prepared and built and made sure that all systems can take a business to a factor of 10 or 20 of the current business. So I guess more regulation, more scrutiny from the regulators. We're not waiting on regulation to come because regulation is here. We're probably waiting on more supervision. We in Dubai, it's been stated that non-regulated entities, they need to kind of close down on the business by the end of this year, 2023. That will of course be good for us because they need to do business illegally or at least under the radar, or they need to migrate to regulated companies like us. We're also looking forward to the halving next year, and hopefully overall we will see more confidence getting back into the ecosystem. We've already seen that, I would say, to a large extent. The news is much more positive. as Metab said earlier, in the UAE, you see so much from the government down promoting virtual asset, the regulators, and yeah, overall we expect 2024 to be, hopefully a year where we go back to normality and we embrace all the use cases like our previous panelists with Gemstone, security tokens. We have seen a lot of weird projects, or say almost stupid projects in the past, but now we have real use cases. Land ownership in Dubai, they are pioneers globally. And in many other ways, actually, the financial services system in the UAE is very much more advanced than what we're used to in Europe and the UK. And I think we will see also that spilling over to them more becoming the global virtual asset hub globally.
Okay, Brian, just let me ask my last question, and then I jump into the chat because I see there is a couple of questions popping up. So what are you preparing in terms of new offers for 2024 or later?
Already on our roadmap, we will enhance our staking offering. We will kind of roll out more fiats. So maybe didn't make that clear earlier. We support 20 fiats already today. We support 50 plus coins where we can freely on-ramp, off-ramp at no cost. We have tier 1 rails for that. Another part of the GCeX group, we do interbank foreign exchange trading. So we are well positioned to bridge that gap between digital assets and fiat assets. We support all, I would say, major stable coins, and we are also in dialogue with Vara about supporting the new dirham stable coin. That, just as Metab also said earlier, there are a number of stablecoin projects in the pipeline on top of the likes. We haven't spoken to gemstones, but similar projects where people, they want to use our regulated umbrella to essentially us to be the broker dealer to bring these products to market, because everyone, they need a regulated hub like GCeX to legally promote these products going forward. And that is one of the USPs also for us specifically going forward.
And I think just to add to what Lars said, one of the things we're also looking to add in 2024 is crypto options. This is also some of the things we're looking at. And we, as I said, we had a good call with Vara earlier today to discuss, how can we get this out to the market the best way possible for all participants. And so GCeX will be a part of that test phase together with Vara to launch new products here in the UAE.
Derivative excellent and options. Look, we have some questions that I will pick up some. So Kaiser Nassim is asking, how rigorous is the compliance regime with Vara? Does it take too much time? Is it automated, streamlined process? And given recent sensitivities?
Yeah, I think I should answer that, Lars.
Yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, we have actually, GCeX have been very, very lucky. We've actually been involved with Vara since day one. So yes, it has been a very long process for us. But having said that, I don't think anyone should expect a proper license to be shorter than 6 months. If you get a license within 3-4 months, I will question your license for sure. And I will question the supervision of that regulator for sure. So obviously, yes, it does take time. It will take you around 7 to 8, 9 months at least, right? Are they strict? Well, I would say they are. Of course, they have a supervision team just like any other regulator, which you would expect from, as I said, from a proper regulator, right? But I would say that Vara, compared to some of the other regulators, they're very, again, because they're building a new regulator up here, and it's still evolving, the rule book is evolving, and they are very open to the VASPs or to the ecosystem, I would say, in general, to hear about, if anyone has some new suggestions, some new ideas. So this is not something I would say I have seen with other regulators. Another thing they're working on, actually, which could be interesting for the listeners here, is that VARA is also looking to see if they can do, some partnership with other regulators in other jurisdictions to actually allow the passporting rights, as we know, within the EU. So once you have a license from VARA, then you will be able to access some of the other jurisdictions outside of UAE, which is very, very interesting. And this is also one of the things we are involved with, and we're not advising, but we're giving feedback to VARA on these things as well. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Short answers. Mehmet, question from Mehmet. What would be your typical cutoff for AUM for clients, your service in Dubai? Especially, there are a lot of investors without institutional setup with large AUM due to difficulties of crypto firms getting access to bank accounts.
Lars, if you start, then I will take over.
Yeah, so the criteria is actually not so much based on the assets. You just need to have investable assets, and in the MiFID it's $500,000, and in the UAE it's $100,000. So it's more that you know what you're doing. There's some qualitative and some quantitative tests. So you don't need to be regulated. We can also take individuals as clients. And you just need to demonstrate that you're not Joe Block down the corner, and you don't know what you're doing. So it's not a. There are some guidance as to what we need, but I guess I can say already now, everyone on this call would almost default into the accredited investor category. And also coming back to the how rigorous is the VARA, it's not easy. The main difference, I always say when I talk to VARA, I had a call with them this morning, is that they're business minded, and then they understand what you're saying. The case officer we have, he used to be my case officer at the FCA in the UK. So there's a bunch of people, they just moved down there. Also the former CEO from the DFSA down there, he's also former FCA. So you see a lot of repeat where people have gotten frustrated with this, why it's so slow in the UK. It's, sorry, I don't want to offend anyone, but it's 12 to 24 month process now with the FCA for basic stuff, change of control, change of this. Whereas VARA, you actually get a point of contact, you can get things done. And I think that's the whole ethos of the UAE, that they're business minded and they want to do business. That they still have a lot of inshallah, but at least they know how to get things done at the end of the day.
Okay, another question from Ahmed. I think there is two questions actually. So you can't issue or help on issue a stable coin? That's the first question. And second question, apart from VARA, have you looked at getting an ADGM license? Other regional countries have also moved ahead with DLT and crypto regulations, including Qatar and Bahrain. Have you looked into them or looking to expand there?
Yeah. So Lars, I will answer this.
Sure.
I think so in terms of issuance, I think one of the things that we need to make very clear here is that there are different kind of activities you can do under the license you have with different regulators, right? And what we can do, and this would be for any providers of any tokens, is that we can do the distribution. So we can distribute that token out to the market. But we don't do issuance, right? And for issuance, that will need to, you will need to find an entity that has that as a part of their core activity. So we do work with providers that do the issuance, and so we can always, refer them and put them in contact with these companies. But we do the distribution. So we will list the token on a platform, and we'll distribute the token, because this is what our permission allows us to do. Why haven't we looked at other regulators? Well, we have. So my background, I used to work as a compliance consultant, and one of the things I was doing was actually license applications with the different regulators, including the ADGM. And I think what we looked at was, in terms of our business, what made much more sense for us to set up. And so we looked at different things, including, the license, the permission. What does it actually allow us to do? We were looking at the operational costs. We were looking at, in terms of the general infrastructure of what can we actually get a bank account, and all these kind of things, as you would do normally in any company when you want to apply for a license. And one of the things we noticed with ADGM, yes, they were actually they actually had a framework around crypto assets or digital assets before VARA. So they have that, but it was limited. And one of the things that we noticed, and also from talking with players from ADGM, is that they kind of find ADGM a bit too strict. I don't like to say this, but it was very difficult for them to actually have that conversation. But also there was limitations to what they could actually do. So they were not allowed to so as Lars said, we have around 40-50 tokens in our product offerings, where ADGM players or brokers were much more limited. So we looked at that as well, of course, and I think for us it just made much more sense to go with VARA. And when I look back, I actually don't regret it. We actually do see players from ADGM now applying for a license with VARA as well. So yeah.
Okay, excellent. Look, I don't think we have time to get into another question. So thank you very much again, Metap, and thank you, Lars. Very insightful sessions, and see you soon.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.